sounded like a lot because it is. It's from the 27th to the 31st. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is G. The week of May 27th, we'll look through the following days of this month. I'm recording this in the very beginning of May. I'm sorry, April. Man, my brain. The very beginning of April. And this is a look at May 27th of this week. Yeah, we're going to do okay, I promise. I'm working on it. We're going to do okay. So, with that said, Mercury prevalent again this week. If you saw the week before video, you kind of, we're just going through a time. We're going through a thing. We're going through a process. We know what Mercury rules, right? Gemini. Mercury is also a co-ruler of Virgo energy. So when you have a lot of strong stuff going on in Gemini, it angles and squares. That's not all. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So in this chart, we're going to talk about the 27th because that's where we're beginning. On the 27th. Yeah, Venus is also a big deal this week. Venus was a big deal last week because she entered Gemini. This week, Mercury's going to enter Gemini. So all the planets that Venus touched at the very beginning as she entered Gemini, Mercury will have a turn at touching them. Yes. So the sun is an authority figure, somebody in charge. Aldebaran, Venus is going to be conjunct the sun, an authority figure, someone in charge. This can be someone in the spotlight, literally, someone that we hear about in the news. In Gemini energy, somebody who's in charge of business and marketing. We think of the stock market, business and trade. We think of our local community, perhaps teaching, perhaps automobiles, electric and EV. What about devices and phones and social media sites? That's going to be a big one, the social media sites, because it's Gemini energy that's pretty strong here. We also think cryptocurrencies and the digital stuff going on, the tokenization, which is just digitizing. We think of all the different cryptos. Like there's a ton of them, a ton of different cryptos. Off the top of my head, the popular ones. I want to what's in my brain? Solana, Ripple. Again, these are not names that I'm saying to you. These are like the thing to go by. This is just stuff I quickly saw and glossed over. Okay. Ethereum and Bitcoin, the top two that most people have probably heard of. But when you start looking at the list of those, they're really big. And so I bring this up because people were hoping and praying Ethereum would take hold within institutional investing the way Bitcoin did, and creating a Ethereum ETF possibly, because that's what happened with Bitcoin. And this is a really strong possibility here because it's everything Gemini. It's digital, right? And it's Venus, money and values, Venus. So the sun being there, and then Venus staying conjunct with the sun. This starts on the 27th, but the conjunction lasts even beyond the 31st. This conjunction with Venus and the sun and Aldebaran lasts between the 27th and the 31st. However, Venus and the sun stay together even longer. They are literally holding hands together. Now, before we go further, remember, Gemini is also the news, okay? Which is why Mercury over there on the corner of the chart, why I had Mercury drawn in, because Mercury is going to be a big deal. The news, what's going on in the news? We know there's a big court thing going on in the United States. Well, there's tons of court things always going on, but significant people that are names known around the world, or if not names, at least one name known globally, right? Somebody possibly in charge, and maybe even someone's social media site being an issue here. And a few different people actually pop into my brain here, not just one person. This other person that's popping in might have been someone who was a previous president of the United States. But then anytime I see Gemini and Aquarius energy and social media, we think of the other megalomaniac, right? what's that? The Twitter thing, or not Twitter anymore. Well, whatever it is, the non-Twitter thing. So this is all social media, right? And it's all the information and the news too. So it's that combination of things. The reason I mentioned Jupiter and court cases, I don't think I said Jupiter, but court cases in the United States is because Jupiter is at the opposition. Hold on, I got a phone call. Hold on. We think of the opposite of Mercury and Gemini because Mercury rules Gemini. The opposite of that would be Jupiter in Sagittarius. And so that was the ongoing court cases that are always in the news, especially for the United States, but in particular with people who are powerful people, or people who used to have power, people who used to be in power, people who are public figures. If nothing else, people who are definitely speaking their mind, or we're always hearing about comments or tweets or whatever. All right. People just talking stuff. And you got Mars on the 27th, right? 26th, 27th, 28th. Mars, I think all the way to the 29th, Mars conjunct Chiron. So wounds of the body, Mars. This can be soldiers, but Mars can be assertive and quite aggressive. Wounds from the past, it's Mars and Chiron together, and they're in Aries energy. So it's about some wounds, possibly wounds to the head, wounds to soldiers, body autonomy type of stuff, the wounds against the things that happen to my body, and it's Mars energy. And so that this whole picture of this whole week, there's like a constant theme going on. It's news, it's Venus, so that's women. We even have over here where Mercury is going to be conjunct Uranus this week. Yeah, Mercury's going to be conjunct Uranus. So the Mercury and Uranus energy starts pairing up right on the 27th at the beginning of the week. Maybe not so much the 27th on the date itself. Taffy, hold on a minute. I don't know why. I just have to move the box. Anyway, she's hitting a really vulnerable spot on my leg and rubbing up against it. So we get this great conjunction, right? That sticks for all the way to the 31st, And so we got Mercury and Uranus, shocks and surprises, shocking news, shocking information. It starts to get really strong and tight because all these energies that I'm talking about, all these planets, the assertive and the aggressive actions and the news that we're hearing about. Remember, Mercury is how I talk, how I speak, what I'm tweeting about, what I'm texting about, the information and the data that was hidden and hearing about it in the news. Likely feminine, female energy, stuff from the past because Pluto's retrograding, and we're talking about moon energy and Venus energy. From the 29th to the 31st, Mercury will likely will be reporting on things that are shocking news, surprising news, but it can be technology because it's Uranus. So surprises, if it's in Taurus, which it is, that's Venus, you see, because Venus rules Taurus. So you get this combination of news about what? Could be news about money and finances and the digital stuff, something that's disruptive. So we think the interest rates, right? We get all these damn money reports, whether it's the housing or I forget all the name of the different reports that they look at, but there's a shitload of them. And each one of them, how's unemployment doing? How are home sales? What are rent prices? There's like just a lot. The labor market, there's a whole lot of things that go into all of this. And so lots of different reports and data, Mercury. But Venus is also a factor because Venus rules Taurus, and it's not just the money, it's desires. So the desires and possibly reports about the money, but also reports about Mercury can be sales, okay? Not trying to mince words or to stretch truths or to bend things, but Mercury it's the merchant. I'm selling something. You see? So along with the news, we think social media, but we think e-commerce, we think housing market, but we also think possibly we're hearing about, well, feminine energy. And if we think money and something for sale and desire and Mercury, the sales of a Venus thing, maybe sex for sale type of thing. Like we're thinking just because of the timeline, this would likely be common in the news right now. And because it's Uranus, an authority figure can play a role in this. Okay. So shocks and surprises also can play a role. And it's all happening at the same time that Mars is conjunct Chiron in Aries. You see, right at the 27th of this week, Mars is at 20, Chiron's at 22. So they ride together. Chiron's a really slow mover compared to Mars. Mars and Chiron will be together 29th, 30th. That couple days in there, while Mercury's conjunct Uranus, that Mars and Chiron are conjunct. So it's about wounds of the body, wounds from the past, tragic trauma, likely even maybe some abuse. And if we're in the courtroom, there's going to be a judge and a jury involved. Yeah. Judge is Jupiter. You see that? The judge is Jupiter. Then who would the jury be? Well, it can be Aquarius because it's people, it's coworkers, and it's supposed to be a jury of your peers. And Gemini energy is your peers. I'm sorry, I'm pointing at Aquarius. I was thinking I kept hearing 12 Angry Men, the movie, and my brain moving way too damn fast for my mouth. Sorry. There you go. Here is the jury of peers, right? And so there's a lot of focus on jury. And you see, even Jupiter is part of this. Part of the news, it's what we're hearing about. And what's interesting is Venus is going to be conjunct the sun. You see that conjunction right there. And they stay together for this whole week. 11, 12, even 13 degrees, they stay together. Okay. So that sounded like a lot because it is. It's from the 27th to the 31st. There's a lot going on with Venus. There's a lot going on with the sun. Venus and the sun traveling together. And not only do they go beyond the 31st, but when we get into next week's video, Venus and the sun are still together. They stay hand in hand until June 4th. Venus and the sun. Remember, Venus's desires, a female, feminine energy. The sun, an authority figure. Oh, Lord. Mercury's going to switch. Mercury's going to make a change. She's going to be at a critical degree in Taurus energy, right? Mercury's going to be, let's say, because she goes to Uranus at 27. I'm sorry, I got the sun right in my eye. This is the way it always is. It's like right at this time of day. And I always think I got it figured out, but I don't. And then I got Taffy tapping me on my leg while I'm doing this at the same time. She's being really polite. Matter of fact, I think it's just her tail. No, it wasn't her tail. It was her little, did you hear that little rare? I'm sorry. I'm trying to stay focused. There are so many things pulling my distraction. This cat just keeps nibbling on me and messing with me. She does this when she is like, it's dinner. And we're not late, by the way. Your dinner time is at 6. I'm going to have to get my other leg involved. Mercury goes to the extreme when she hits 29 degrees. Okay. And the 29 degrees for Mercury, I'm saying we're going to feel this June 2nd. So it's Saturday, June 1st, June 2nd. Mercury is like at 27, 28. So we go down to Taurus energy and then Mercury moving out of Taurus, she goes to 0, Gemini. Well, holy shit, look what we got at 0 in Gemini. Right. We still have Sedna and Jupiter. There's just an ass load of shit about news and information, right? News and information. Options, think options, but just don't forget that along with Uranus and it being surprises and shocks and 29 degree being extreme, 0 degrees is also extreme energy. 0 is also extreme. And it's Venus riding with the sun the whole way through. The sun is what is shining in the sky, where the spotlight is being amplified. where the beam is focused, right? So the information, feminine energy, Venus, desires, right? Now, I really am not trying to make this all about like that, because in your life, what is this about? Well, think of hot stuff on social media, maybe hot communications you're having on social media. Maybe it's emails and snail mails. Maybe it's just sisterly love and women energy all together and camaraderie and schooling, but definitely online and consuming and learning shit is really going to be there. And there's going to be a desire for it because it's Venus in the sign of Gemini. I want to learn about this. You see, it's I want to learn about this. I want to hear this. So this energy for this week kind of takes over. It kind of takes over. It's just what it is. Something I have in the chart that I'll speak on a little bit more is this square in the chart. The Venus and the sun, when they're going to be together, they're going to hook up at 7-8 degrees, right? And they're going to square the Juno energy. Juno is feminine energy. Okay. So there's going to be this strong square that stays this whole ride, right? So for like these 7 days, you've got this square. It does ease off by the end of this week, because by the end of the week, you have Venus and the sun hitting 11 degrees. Okay. So they're no longer in that tight square. However, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are a hot time. And so what I mean by that is pay attention in the news. There can be a lot of things with different businesses, but that Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is when Venus and the sun together are squaring Juno energy partnerships. And there's a little bit of that domestic vibration in there. So it's, somebody who might have been on the calendar and the scheduling and projects and tasks and jobs and, all that stuff. So this could be the job market itself. So it kind of colors this whole week. And let's not forget that when we think of Gemini, and other than social media and other than the stock market, this is real estate and the housing market, and commercial real estate. It's all of this too. Okay. One thing I will add is Aldebaran, Venus and the sun will be conjunct 10 degrees. Aldebaran, conjunct Aldebaran. Now, for those of you who've been around, you know that Aldebaran is considered very powerful, and it's usually victory. It's usually, I can speak. I have great abilities in speaking and presentations and communicating and thinking, and then a success that usually follows. Venus and the sun. So feminine power is super empowered here because it's not only conjunct the sun, it's conjunct Aldebaran. You follow? So normally with Aldebaran, it's considered success. And usually it gives fundamental it gives one the fundamentals and the basics for worldly success. But there is a caution, because the success can be followed by a fall unless ethics outweigh the ambition. So it kind of is beautiful in the fact that it will give you the success and the ability. Remember, Gemini is sales and talking and teaching and learning, right? Social media, the stock market, all that success that United States has, right? And all that success with the economy, and everybody like, my God, the economy's not doing as bad as we thought, and this and that. Well, the Venus and the sun, there might be an economic report. There's great success. However, the caution is if success and ambition somehow took precedence, if they somehow, and desire and greed, how about that? Success, greed, desire, if they took precedence, if they outweighed ethics, then this star promises a great fall. So this week should be big. It should be big. And this can be in a lot of different ways. The thing is, look for these degrees in your chart and see how it makes sense for you. And for some of us, it's literally just what we're hearing about in the news. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for your time. I got this kitty cat tapping on my leg. I'll see you in your next all astrology video. Till then, bye-bye.